What's up guys? I thought I'd show you something a little bit different today, because I plan to introduce you to other things in my life, which will include things like camping, fishing, gardening, just general if you're into boats. I mean, because I find that people that are into aquariums generally have an affinity with the sea or the ocean, and I think I fall into that category. I mean, I tend to like everything to do with water, swimming, the lot, so I think I will start to do a once a week video, which I'll put up on probably a Tuesday or a Wednesday and through the week. I mean, don't worry, I will still post mostly videos about shrimp keeping, but this will be just something extra. I mean, if you don't want to watch this, I mean, you don't have to click on the video. I'll make sure that you know in the title description what the video is. And for example, this one I'll just say vlog 1, vlog 2. Anything that has vlog in it, you probably don't have to watch if you're not interested in anything else that I might want to, like I might want you to see that I do. So let's get right into it, I think, huh? So this is my other love, which is kayaking. This is a 12-foot sit on top kayak, and the difference between this and other kayaks is it's pretty obvious. Is there's no hole in the middle, no hole here in the middle for you to sit in, and that makes this craft particularly stable because it can be wider, and the inside on mine's anyway is completely airtight. Now for me that is important, because if I fall in the water I won't lose my kayak and I won't lose all my gear, because this will still float. If you have the other type of canoe where it has the hole in the middle, it will probably eventually sink. Once you start to get water in it, it probably unless you modify it, will eventually start to sink. So that's why I chose this. It is very wide, as you can see, which means for a fishing platform is very stable compared to like the racing canoes or sit-in canoes. And I'll just go over all the little things with this kayak, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what each thing is and what it does, where I got it from, etc, etc. Alright, so I'll start at the back. Okay, on here I used to have a trolling motor. It used to propel me at maybe like 3-4 miles per hour, and I used to have a giant battery on the back here. It was a giant marine battery, and I was able to get about 8 hours of trolling out of it without having to paddle, which kind of beat the purpose of having a kayak. So I decided to do away with it. Now these parts here are now gooped up. The marine battery is now on my canoe, on my boat, sorry. So that is that. Hasta la vista, trolling motor. Dog food biscuit container. The reason I got this is because it has this resealable lid, which means anything I put in here is completely dry. Even if I somehow manage to, like overturn the kayak, everything will still be very dry. The added bonus with this is, as well, is if I somehow manage to flip this, this is actually airtight. It will act as like an upright buoyancy aid. It will stop my canoe going from upside down, which is very good, because the first time, I'll just tell you a little story while I'm doing this. When you're doing canoeing and kayaking, you have to like practice falling in the water and getting back on. It's like a basic. If you can't get back on your kayak with some practice, then it's really not safe for you to go out in the water, because if you fall in, you will basically drown. So the first time I practiced with this, I was on a lake away over here, and I deliberately put this sit on top kayak upside down, and you basically grab the handle and pull it towards yourself like this. Now, so when it came over like this on this side, I wasn't expecting it to come over at such a great pace. And I don't know if I'm going to point to the right part here. On the opposite side here, this part flipped over here and it hit me on the head. And it nearly knocked me out in the water. Luckily for me, I was wearing a life jacket, so even if it had knocked me out, I would have still been okay. It was the summer as well, so the water was pretty warm. But there's that little story. The seat cost me about $50–60 from a specialist shop. This rigging that I've done for the trolley is different compared to the standard when you buy it, because under here I've actually tied the straps direct to the trolley on each side, and then I can tighten it up here in this little buckle. If I pull it, it will tighten. Because I find it before, when I didn't do this, that the trolley used to like wobble, you know, like slip to one side, and this does away with that altogether. The middle part here is chopping board. And the reason I put chopping board here is twofold. I can use it to cut bait on, and it also covers, there's like compartments here, and they were pretty useless. There's the kind of compartments which were meant for you to put like hooks and spinners and all that kind of thing to stop it going all over the place. But what I found it did more was just collect water. I was putting things in here, and I mean, if there was a little bit of splashing or whatever, I mean, I would have like a fishing lure sitting here, and it would basically be sitting in water. And you know what that does to a fishing lure? It rusts. So I just covered the whole thing up. The only part I left was the bottle holder. These are Berkeley rod holders, which when I got these I will not recommend, because I'm going to zoom in here, see if you can see it. There, can you see this bolt here? That is the standard bolt I got with this, and it's the same on the other one. They both rust. Now these are fishing, they're fishing pieces of equipment. So why would they use a bolt that is not stainless steel? It doesn't make sense. They tried to cut a corner here, and it's basically going to cost me money to replace these now. And here in Norway, these were, I think, about $30 each. So this is just a waterproof bag that I've modified. It's one of those type where you curl it up like this in your hand, and then you fold the ends together and clip it, and it makes a waterproof type bag. A waterproof bag, let me say that again. And all I've done to modify this is on the inside of the lip here, I've sewn in a Velcro lip. Here, you see that? And this is basically my fish bag. And what I'll put in here is bottles of water. You will see in another video I have, which I'm showing ways to cool down your tanks. I have bottles of water for a couple of different reasons. This is one of them. Frozen bottles of water, might I add. I put them in here, and any fish I catch, it will keep them in here, and I'll keep them fresh the whole day. I have rigging all along the front again. Oh, before I go any further, I have to say I used to have rigging under here, just under the lip of the kayak, and this was for a thing called an anchor trolley. It basically let me clip an anchor line onto the side here, and I was able to pull the line and move the anchor point to the back or the front of the kayak. The only bad thing with that is here in Norway, I tend to find where I fish is probably deeper than 30 meters in most places. Typically, like last year, I was fishing in a place that was 100 meters. Now, I can't anchor in water that is 100 meters deep, because it would involve me having to let out so much line. I mean, to give you an idea how much 100 meters is, I know how far 100 meters is for sure, because I've measured it from this point in my garden to over there, because I've actually measured anchor line for my boat. Let me see now. See this tree here? From where I'm standing? That is 100 meters. Not the big one in the background, the little one just in the edge of the field here. That is 100 meters. So I was having to carry a ton of line, and to anchor in those kind of depths I was having to use 5 kilos of weight. Now if anybody here owns a boat and they know they will know how hard it is to pull up even small amounts of weight from hundreds of meters. So I've decided to take the anchor trolley off this because I might still put another anchor on this, a smaller one, but it will be like a hand line type where I will have maybe 30 meters, 40 meters at the most going out from it. It also saves me on space because when you're pulling up hundreds of meters of line, you have to lay it out somewhere first and then wind in, because I don't have a method to wind in. You guys that have kayaks will understand this. This is a Lawrence Elite 4, and it's the basic model. I got this about 2 years ago. This was my old fish finder before I got my new one. I now have the Lawrence Elite 4 HDI Pro, which is the color version, and it has different frequencies on the fish finder, and it has the what is it called now? The HDI part of it is where I can scan structure and I'm able to see it more clearly, but that typically only works in like 20-30 meters of water. I'll just show you where I keep my battery in here. I don't know if you can see that there, but that is just, it's a foam pad that I've marine gooped, and when I've marine gooped it, I put a strap underneath and it holds my battery in there in place. In here I will have space for, I don't know, I typically put a couple of fishing rods in here, you know, like life jacket, etc, etc. Over here I have the sonar. I decided to go outside of the kayak because you can actually put the sonar on the inside of a kayak and seal it to the inside of the plastic, but when you do this you will lose some of the signal and you will also lose the temperature. Now this is just a little rig that I've made up. It's pretty solid that I can remove, and it does the same thing, and it's outside. So the only thing you have to watch for is when you're like fishing next to rocks and stuff that you don't scratch this and damage it. But when I'm finished at the end of the day, all I do is undo this screw and I can put it inside here. That's it. And that is my overview of my fishing kayak. So there you go. I plan to do this once a week. You will see more videos of me going fishing, camping, etc, etc. So you know what to do. If you like this video, leave a like. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. Thanks guys. I'll catch you in the next one.